welcome back to Total Spotfest. I am JJ Brownlee, accompanied by Jamie Faulkner. We are coming back at you with another weekend of wrestling. We got a ton of AEW to go over. We had a killer Dynamite last night. One would say a very black Dynamite, even.
It ushered in a new era, if you will.
It was veritable new eras, and we're going to get all into it. We also had Battle of the Belts from this past weekend, a pretty good Rampage, and we crown our inaugural Total Spotfest pay-per-view champion. That's
Should
right.
automatically go to the guy with the 3 of the 4 belts, but whatever. I digress.
It's all, but we are going to crown the inaugural one. This is my best work yet. Out of 2, it's my best fake belt I've made. So, Hard to Kill was on over this past weekend, and we're going to talk about that. Spoiler: it was great. It was so good.
It was really good.
So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. If you are checking us out on YouTube, drop a comment down below to join the conversation. While you're down there, hit the like button if you would. It helps us out quite a bit. And you can always subscribe if you want to hear more. Tell your friends about us. If you're listening to us, you can join the conversation by hollering at us on Twitter at Total Spotfest. Jamie, how's your week been? You've been a little under the weather. Yeah, you've been a little
I've had better weeks. Yeah. Not gonna lie, a little nervous I might have the Rona, but we'll find out. I'm getting tested. I'm getting tested as this comes out, so we'll see.
Well, when we both hope sincerely you don't, not just for your own health and safety, but as long as you get a big negative in that pee stick box, that's not how Corona tests works. It'd be great if that was how COVID tests work, but no.
Yeah.
As long as Jimmy comes back negative, me and him are headed up to Iowa on Sunday. We're going to Pro Wrestling Revolver. Is that the right? Is that Sammy?
Yes.
Okay.
Pro Wrestling Revolver.
Pro Wrestling Revolver's show. They had to make a couple changes. I see that Trey Miguel was replaced by Chris Sabin, and Decay couldn't make it. I think Rosemary's still a little banged up from Hard to Kill. So
that makes sense.
But still a pretty stacked card that they have there. Lots of stuff. So here's hoping. If we do go, we will of course talk about that next week. Excited to see some promotions outside of Missouri, Kansas City, St. Louis, and our little trip, up to Chicago. But we're going to do that a lot more this year. We're going to see some more different promotions. And if you're listening out there and you have a promotion you think we should be checking out, maybe it's not too far of a trek for us Kansas Cityans, give us a shout. Let us know. You have something down in Oklahoma? Cool. Nebraska? I'd be down. Illinois? That's not too bad. Arkansas? I'm game. Let us know.
We've been to Chicago a couple times, or at least once together.
Yep.
But I would go to Chicago again to watch a show.
I absolutely would. There's tons of promotions in Chicago. Stay to this channel. We're going to talk a lot more about that in the near future. But lots of really cool promotions in Chicago. Chicago's one of those hotbeds. You get Chicago. Used to be Memphis was the spot back in the day, and Memphis still has some good stuff. Nashville's got some cool stuff. Nashville's not far away. Memphis is pretty.
It's not.
Memphis is pretty. So we're just spitballing there. So we're dedicated to do a lot more indie wrestling this year. We're highly supportive of Journey Pro, of course, but we want to. We're not just a one-trick pony here because we love wrestling. Jamie and I do. So this weekend we're going to Saturday. No, next Saturday. Apologies. Days, weeks, I get confused. Next Saturday, we're going to be going to Dynamic Wrestling Federation's new show. Dak Draper versus Jeremy Wyatt. Howlett's, hashtag heel shit, versus the Premier 2. You've got a pretty stacked card all over the place there. So
we just announced Dan the Dad will be there, which is pretty cool.
And the Dad's going to be there. It's Jake Durden's going to be there. You've got Arjun Singh. You got a whole bunch of stuff. And there's probably going to be some more stuff. There's room on that card for another match or two for sure. So we will be there, Overland Park, and I think there's still a few tickets available. General admission, I think, is all that's left, but you can go to dwfwrestling.com, check them out. It's off of 151st Street down Overland Park if you live in Kansas City, if you're wondering. So, should be a good time. We shall see.
Yeah. We shall see. We shall see.
You want to get right to the meat of the matter, Jamie?
Yeah, let's do it. I really do.
I spent the time and the energy and a little bit of money making this wonderful belt here, featuring our the Faulkner World Order logo on one side and the much better and more high class J Money Club on the other side. So one of us, you, myself, or the tyrant that is Megan Faulkner, your daughter, will be walking away with this belt very soon. So, Hard to Kill, Impact's first of their big pay-per-views of the year. So it's one of their main 4 that they're doing now every year. So they have that one, Bound for Glory, whatever. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the other 2. But Slammiversary, thank you. And then it's like Rebellion is the other one. That's their big 4. So it's the same as it was last year. So they've settled into a pattern of substantial pay-per-views. So this was the first one, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It's the best pay-per-view of 2022.
I mean, there has been another one, day 1.
So I'm not just saying because it's the only one, but yeah, it's early. The pay-per-view was excellent. As you see on the screen here, there's our pay-per-view records. We did do picks for this, and what I'm going to do, since I have the pick sheet loaded up in front of me, I'm going to go ahead and let you know what the picks were as we roll through this. Spoiler alert, nobody scored very high. We'll put it that way. We did have a tiebreaker. If it does come in, we will bring it up. One note there was a slight COVID outbreak at the Cardona wedding, and as a result, the women's tag team championship match had to be postponed from the pay-per-view. The inspiration came down with the Rona, so we replaced that on our card with one of the pre-show matches. It's a 4-way match between Chris Bay, Ace Austin, Laredo Kid, and Speedball Mike Bailey, a debuting Speedball Mike Bailey. You familiar with Mike?
Not at all.
I'd seen him somewhere before, and I can't remember. I think I might have seen him on a GCW show that I had ordered. Because he sounded familiar as all. I couldn't place it. I'm not going to lie. I didn't look it up. But the match itself was nothing but a flippy, spinny shit left and right. Very enjoyable starter match. You can watch it on YouTube. It was their pre-show. The picks were JJ and Jamie both chose Chris Bay. Megan chose Laredo Kid. And we were all wrong. Because Speedball Mike Bailey got the victory.
Interesting.
Who would have guessed that? Not us, apparently. So, starting off strong we are. And then the show kicks off with the Women's Ultimate X match. I will say this. You could tell that the women were in the gravity of the moment there because they were very deliberate for the first half of the match, right? Which understandable. I get it, So it was a little choppy to start, but it was very enjoyable. Not nearly as long as a men's Ultimate X match, and they had lots of fun shenanigans that went along with it. The contestants were Lady Frost, who was wearing awesome X-themed gear for Ultimate X, Tasha Steelz, Alicia Edwards, who's replacing Jordan Grace's tag team partner, who I can't remember, Rachel Ellering. Thank you, brain memory. Alicia Edwards, Jordan Grace, Chelsea Green, and Rosemary. Now, myself and Megan both picked Chelsea Green to win. Jamie had chosen Rosemary. This was quite an enjoyable match, honestly. And It ended with you had lots of interference. You had Havoc come out and help Rosemary. You had Savannah Evans come out, help Tasha Steelz out. There was lots of moves off of the scaffolding, holding the X up around the ring. But it came down to the end. You had Chelsea Green and Tasha Steelz both going for it from two different ropes, going for the X. Both get their hands on it. Chelsea Green unlatches it, and they're both fighting for it in the air. Tasha falls to the ground and brings the X with her. Tasha Steelz wins the X, gets a future title shot. Well done. We still don't have a point. None of us do.
Yeah, we're all over.
like I said, it was definitely a rough start for everything. So, the next match. In fact, I'm just going to put this out here. The next 3 matches are the reason you go out and you spend the money on the replay for this pay-per-view. They are that good. This first one, just we knew that these were going to be great matches. This first one was Steve Maclin versus Trey Miguel for the X Division title. Jamie and myself both chose the unpinned and unsubmitted Steve Maclin to become victorious. And Megan chose Trey Miguel to retain the X Division title. And wow, this match just started off hot and went to town. These two can work together like something else. And it was thoroughly enjoyable before the bell rang. So in the end, it was Trey Miguel who was able to retain the belt. So finally, somebody's on the board. Megan has a point.
1 point. Is on the board.
3 matches in. 3 matches out of 8, and we have 1 singular point. So, yeah, we're real good at picking wrestling matches. Well, the next one changed our fortunes because it was the Ring of Honor Championship match between the defending champion, Jonathan Gresham, and Chris Sabin. And there was tons of good, prop towards Ring of Honor during this. They had the Ring of Honor ring announcer there. They had one of the ring announcer commentary guys on the desk. And this was done in pure wrestling rules as well, which is Jonathan Gresham's specialty. Speaking of which, we know somebody whose specialty is also pure wrestling rules that lives in the greater Kansas City area. I've
heard of him.
Also adding to the fact that Chris Sabin apparently had earned a title shot during his time in Ring of Honor back in 2018 when he had pinned Jay Lethal, and he had earned a title shot, but he then re-signed with Impact, never got. So there's all this mythos along with the Ring of Honor thing, and it was a real nice kind of extenuation of the Ring of Honor brand since they are refiguring themselves this year. The match was great. It was the type of match that gets Jamie just a nice chubby because it was technical as fuck with enough flippy spinny shit to make it interesting. Jonathan Gresham, highly underrated wrestler. For those who don't know him, they just see him wearing the Cthulhu mask at the beginning and they're like, oh, what is this shit? He is so good. And he ended up getting the victory, retained his title. We all picked Gresham, so we all get a point.
2 points, FWO.
Well, 2 points for Megan, 1 point for Jamie, 1 point for JJ. Okay?
Yep, but FWO's in the lead with 2.
It is. And it pains me to the utmost to say that at this time, and technically before this match, Megan and myself have the same card on the way out. Everything else we have from here on out is the exact same. Basically, we differed on 2 matches, and they were both previous before this. She got a point on one of them. That was it. So, To Jamie's point from last week, this beautiful belt, which I spent all this time making, putting all the effort into it. Yes, I will not win it. I am eliminated.
That's right. The FWO is going to bring it home, just like we do every other pay-per-view.
That's okay, because this is the greatest. This is that underdog story where the J Money Club comes out of nowhere, and it's my Goldberg '98 moment. Everybody rallies behind the J Money Club as finally overtake the odds and get the belt back. So I'm eliminated, but let's see, Jamie or Megan, who is going to walk away with the belt? So the next match was in our trio of holy shittery was Jonah versus Josh Alexander. And this match is everything we all wanted and so much more. Now, Megan and myself, like I said, we have the same card going forward. So we both picked Jonah. And even though she had technically spelled his name correctly, but I'm being petty now. So we picked Jonah. Jamie picked Josh Alexander. And this match just was a hard-hitting clusterfuck of goodness. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so goddamn good. I think my biggest note here is just that this match fucks. And it definitely did. Now,
It did. It did. It really did. Now,
it came down to the end, and Alexander was doing the right things you do against a big guy. He was targeting the leg. Jonah was doing just ridiculous spots, big old spots for a guy his size, not even possible spots, things like that. But it ends up that Alexander gets the victory via tap out. He had the ankle lock in and finally got him to tap out. So Josh Alexander wins, presumably to move into the title picture. We shall see with what impact this week has on there. Jamie gets another point on the board. Him and Megan are now all tied up. And the last two matches, all three of us picked the same. So this next match, Jamie varied from myself and Megan. So it's going to determine who's going to win. And we're not even going to need our tiebreaker, thank God. So the next match was the match that I missed the last couple impacts before the pay-per-view. I did. Life happens, right? So I had no idea what a hardcore war was. I figured it was just a 10-man hardcore match, right? 5-on-5, and everybody just goes apeshit, right? And it was, but it wasn't. So Violent by Design and Good Brothers versus Eddie Edwards, Rich Swann and Willie Mack, and Rhino and Heath. It was done like a War Games match, except it's a single ring with no cage. 2 men start, 3 minutes, somebody comes out from one of the teams, and they alternate every 90 seconds until all 10 men have come out from the back. Once all 10 men have come out from the back, then a pinfall or submission wins. It's War Games in a single ring and no cage. And it was my surprise of the night, because I had no idea what this match was, and I loved it. And they did it all wonderfully. Just violent spots all over the place. You had tacks. You had barbed wire stapled upon sheets of plywood, tables broken, Kindle sticks. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Chains being wrapped around fists and be used for punches, and everything you want in a hardcore match. You pretty much got that spot some point in this. Now, at the end of the day, this was kind of like Rhino's big shiny moment, and Jamie picked the faces to win. He picked the Rhino Heath team, whereas Megan and myself both picked Violent by Design and Good Brothers. But Rhino's big shiny moment, and he ended up getting him and Heath were the ones contributed to the pinfall victory. They win. And that means that Jamie gets a point. And the next two matches are moot. We're going to talk about them for sure here momentarily. But Jamie is your inaugural Total Spotfest pay-per-view champion. You will be receiving this belt this weekend.
reigning, defending,
No, you're not yet.
undisputed.
You just won it. You're not
pay-per-view champion.
You're not defending it yet. You just won it. There's nothing to defend it for yet. You don't have it in your possession yet.
Well, I won it, so now I'm defending it. So I'm the reigning, defending, undisputed champion.
But you're not defending it. This is not. Are you putting it up at this very moment for something? No,
I'm putting it up every day I walk.
You're the reigning
champion. I live one pay-per-view at a time.
You're the reigning champion. Reigning, I'll give you undisputed. But you're not defending until you actually defend it in an event.
I'm gonna be defending it here in like a few weeks.
Eventually you will, but right now, at this very moment, you're just the reigning champion. You're the reigning undisputed paper Total Spotfest champion. Sorry, semantics, they matter to me.
I'm reigning, defending, undisputed.
Whatever. Just like doing your Paul Heyman hit. Now, one of the interesting things about this match is that once this match was done, then you had some people show up. What people am I talking about? Oh, I don't know. About a third of the Ring of Honor roster. You had Mike Bennett, you had Matt Tavern, you had Vincent, you had BCO, you had Maria Kanellis Bennett. They show up and lay waste to everybody in the ring. What is this? I mean, you had the Ring of Honor, championship match earlier on. Tonight on Impact, you have Roxy, who later on was in the front row watching the women's title match. She is challenging the women's champion in a match. No, she's challenging Deonna Purrazzo in a match tonight. Wait a minute, hold on a second. She's on Impact Wrestling tonight. I don't remember against who.
Yeah, she's going against Purrazzo, I thought.
Purrazzo, yeah, because I remember they were talking about putting the Reina de Reinas championship up, I think is what she had said.
Yeah.
It's not a champion versus champion match. I don't believe, but it's a match between the two because they had to. But anyway, Roxy is going to be on Impact. You had, Jonathan Gresham. So is this an Impact Ring of Honor merger? Is this an invasion? Is this just the Forbidden Door again? I don't know. I'm interested to see because like we said before, there's a lot of interested people in and around Ring of Honor. So let's see what happens there. But it was a good little swerve, nice little fun angle. After this, you did not have the women's match. You had the men's title match, the triple threat between Moose, Matt Cardona, and W. Morrissey. This was a highly entertaining match as well, honest to God. And, Moose, in his promos leading up to this, had flat out said that he does not care what it is. He will do whatever it takes to retain his title. Period. End of sentence. And he displayed that perfectly. There are some big old spots in this thing too. And near the end, they gone through a couple referees too, because they kept, Moose beat the hell up out of one when he was almost going to make a pinfall count for Cardona on Morrissey, and we all chose Moose to win this. I thought it was Brian's pretty obvious on the wall. So he does a low bro, then he takes Cardona and power bombs him into, because Chelsea Green had come out halfway through the match. Him and Moose and Chelsea Green have started their own little separate rivalry thing, which is fantastic. And he power bombs in the corner Matt Cardona into the referee, who's right in front of Chelsea Green, and then does some sneaky shit and gets the victory. So Moose does retain. We all get a point there. The show ends with the Knockouts title match, which surprised me because all of the promotional material all featured this triple threat as the main headline, right? But
yeah,
they ended with Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo, and it was a Texas death match. Now, do you know the specificity of a Texas death match, Jamie?
No.
Okay, you had to think about it for a second there.
I did. I'm like, wait, do I know this?
I didn't think it was a Texas death match, but I'm familiar with the rules of this match. So, There's no count, no DQ. Anything's legal. Pinfalls count anywhere. But after a pinfall happens, whether it is via, or after a fall happens, whether it's by pin or submission, the opponent who submitted or was pinned then has a 10-second count to stand to their feet. In order to get the victory, you need to obtain a submission or a pin and have that person not be able to get up after 10 seconds.
Oh, I did not know that.
And it was very interesting because you saw the strategy at the beginning, getting in a submission move and, Deonna Purrazzo immediately tapping out, right? And then standing right up. Because it doesn't do her any harm to tap out right there, but it stops the submission because they have to count. The referee does. And so it added a little interesting glare to it. Now, this had, once again, a bunch of hardcore stuff they pulled out too. They fought all over the arena. They were in Dallas for shooting. We all chose Deonna Purrazzo, FYI. We all chose her to get back her title. But they fought all over the arena. There was a particular move that Deonna did, kind of just pushed off the top rope, and she fell a little awkwardly. And I don't know if it was concussion, but she didn't look right for the rest of the match. I'm just going to say that. And at the end of the match, it ended up being, after a couple tables and some more tacks were pulled out, it was Mickie James with the DDT into the tacks, got the pinfall, and retained her title.
Interesting.
Didn't see that coming. Especially because earlier that day, Mickie James was announced to be, and this, I still can't fathom this, she's announced to be an entrant in the WWE Royal Rumble.
Especially after all the shit she said after they sent her stuff to her in a trash bag.
Absolutely. That, of all the things, and she's the Impact Knockouts champion, going to be in the Royal Rumble. And apparently in some of the stuff, they've actually even mentioned her as a current Impact Knockouts champion. And I'm like, they actually acknowledged Impact Wrestling. WWE acknowledged Impact Wrestling.
Who saw that coming?
I mean, it is 2022. Who knows, man? It's the upside down. So that's the result. You see the updated pay-per-view stats. Jamie is your champion. He has the belt by his name over there. The good thing is there's no 18,000, but we just have the singular belt. So be up for grabs before we know it. I'll be able to take it back.
So are you saying that I'm officially now defending this title?
Well, not at this very moment, are you? Is this a title defense tonight?
But the next title defense is the next pay-per-view, so I will be defending that title.
Then you will be defending on that day, yes.
So therefore, I am the reigning and defending champion because we know that I am going to have to defend this title.
You will have to defend this title, but you're not currently defending it, so you're just the reigning champion.
I'm defending it now because I know I have to defend it then. It's defense.
Anyone out there with an English degree, please comment down below because I know that I'm right. My old journalism skills are kicking in, and my grammar Nazi head is just saying, no, you're not currently defending it. You're just the reigning champion. Congratulations, Jamie, on being the inaugural champion of our little podcast here. So
our little slice of heaven.
I'm gonna get my belt back.
Our little slice of heaven. You'll never get it back.
One way or another, I'm getting it back.
Megan's gonna win it before you do, and we both know it's gonna happen. It's gonna be glorious. Your champion, who has given you a picture with her with all the belts, find your champion. Right behind you.
I'm just gonna hide it. Let's move on, shall we? Let's move on swiftly because we got a lot of AEW to get to still.
We do.
You got numbers from last week, though, right?
I do. I really do. So.
Oh, well, sorry. One last thing. One last note about Impact. Their next big pay-per-view is Rebellion, like I said. It is going to be April 23rd from Poughkeepsie, New York. So April 23rd is their next big pay-per-view, Rebellion.
That's the home of the Riverfront Murderer, if anybody follows true crime like I do. There you go.
Knowledge.
Green River. Yeah.
Sure.
Numbers. All right. So last week was an excellent week for wrestling. Everybody was up. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. So we'll just start with the former flagship of WWE and Monday Night Raw. They were at 1.592. They went up to 1.716 million. Still haven't cracked 2, but it is an incline nonetheless of over 100K.
I mean, up is up,
and
right?
then NXT 2.0 went from 662 to 685. So it is an increase. It was not like a major over 20,000 increase or anything like that, but it was an increase.
You have the wrong week. That was 2 weeks ago. That was the New Year's Evil episode with 685.
Oh, it said it was on the this week.
Nope. In Tuesday's live edition of NXT 2.0, the first in the quote-unquote Braun Breaker era, drew 647,000 viewers, down 5.54% from last week's 685,000 for New Year's Evil.
Well, I have it as 685 for this is the 1-4 show, not the 111 show.
Right. We talked about we mentioned that last week.
But the 1-4 show, I always do it the week behind us. Not this week.
Okay. I know we talked about the New Year's Evil show and said the numbers for them last week.
We didn't talk about the numbers. We just talked about how he came out and busted the NXT to
spoiler. This past week, so 2 nights ago, NXT was down.
Okay.
Sorry. Again, days mixed up here. I could have swore we did that. My bad. Keep going.
My cat decides she wants to get on the numbers. All right. So AEW Dynamite, first show on TBS. It was up from 975 to 1.010 million, back over the million mark, baby. And I feel like this one that we're going to review is going to have another strong number because it was pretty damn solid. Good news for Impact. Their first one of the this year that's actually a taped one. It was their go home show for the show that we just talked about. It went from 82 to 104, so they back over the 100K mark.
Over 100 is good. I'll take it.
And then SmackDown went from 1.972 to 2.271. So that's a nice little bump for them.
Yeah. Now that's post. Yeah, that'd be post New Year's.
Yeah.
Whatever their New Year's Day thing was. I don't even fucking remember.
Yeah, it's actually day one.
Yeah. Post day one.
Yeah. Rampage was also up. They went from 453 to 588, and that was the one that had the amazing. Like the past couple of Rampages have been action packed. Like and this one that's coming up too looks like it's going to be action packed as well.
Still, for the money out there, and there's no money on because it's on whatever basic cable, but best bang for your buck in wrestling is Rampage. 1 hour, you get 3-4 matches jam packed in there. They're all solid matches. It's not a lot of fluff. Bang for your buck, man. Rampage is great. I love Rampage.
Yeah, Rampage is solid, and they had the hardcore match of that women's hardcore match, two ago, and that was one of the best matches. I mean, that's a match of the year candidate, honestly. Like the way how good it was, it like blew my mind. Fun fact: speaking of match of the year, PWI gave out its match of the year.
I saw that. What was the match of the year, Jamie, if I may ask?
The Britt Baker Thunder Rosa Lights Out match.
Oh, yeah.
And we both had it in our top list, but we both, since we were at that All Out with the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks, we gave that one the nod. But no, I agree. Like that match fucked, and it fucked hard. Like it was so damn good.
It was a watershed moment too, for not just for Britt Baker, but for the women in AEW, and it had a lot more. Now they had the cage match tag championship. Lucha Brothers Young Bucks is number 2 on PW's match of the year candidate. So
yep.
It wasn't far behind, but I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that. I was like, all right, there you go.
Yep. When I saw that, the first thing I thought was like, fuck you, Meltzer.
Yeah, I know. Where's your New Japan now? No, did New Japan were in the top 5, by the way, for all PW Insider. I think they had Becky Lynch and there's Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, the WrestleMania match for 3, and then they had, I don't remember, but they didn't have any New Japan on there, so it was interesting. Not in the top 5, at least.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. We're gonna be talking about one of those people later in this broadcast.
We definitely will. Now, you mentioned Rampage. Rampage itself this past week was another enjoyable episode. It featured some interesting things. This weekend in AEW was interesting, especially Saturday. Saturday was billed to be their first big special show, right? It's on Battle of the Belts on TNT.
Battle of the Belts.
Rampage was the night before it, and it started off Adam Cole versus a debuting on TV Jake Atlas, and this is a very good match. You can expect the two of them. Atlas hurt his knee though near the end of it, and it caused Cole to do a little kind of ad-libbing on the site, won by a knee bar tap out. Now Atlas has since come back and said it's nothing serious. He won't be out long, thank God. But
yeah.
It was, a lot of stuff with Adam Cole is not really what he's been doing in the ring lately because of all the melodrama happening between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. That's more of the story with him. And spoiler alert, we're going to talk about that quite a bit coming up here in a few minutes on Dynamite. But they come out and they do, they posture and all this stuff. Cool, right? You also had the most over man in all of professional wrestling. That would be Hook. He was sent again, this time against Aaron Solo. He did more of the same, but crowd's eating him up. He has the top 2 selling shirts on Shop AEW, and I believe the top 2 selling shirts currently on Pro Wrestling Tees in total. He has 2 shirts. He has a black one and a white one.
And they're both the 1 and 2.
The black sellers. One has the word send over his name, and the other one just has his name, and they're just selling like hotcakes. The Hook thirst is real. So
it is really real. And they have the video of him out at the strip club with him and AB, and it's like everyone's like, cool.
I know.
He's just living his best life, man.
And this is coming from a Steeler fan too here, guys. The most toxic man in all of professional sports, Antonio Brown. The worst teammate you could have, period, end of sentence. And he's out hanging with him, and I was like, hey, whatever. It's like, this motherfucker is Teflon. I love it. It's great. I had a couple little promos, kind of continuing along some stories and stuff. And then your main event was Ruby Soho, Ruby, and Riho versus Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter. And this was a great little tag match. They could really play off each other. Riho, we said this before, is very much hit and miss depending on who she's wrestling. But you get her in multi-person and tag matches, that seems to go away, right? She seems to come into her own. Her and Ruby did very well together, and they keep planting and watering the seed of dissension between Britt and Jamie. Errors lead to, hurtings and this and that, and, and pushing and shoving here and there and little so I really enjoy this. Ruby and Riho got the victory at the end as well. So that was Rampage. And then the next night you had the Battle of the Belts. The big news from that is that Codelander went to the Cardona wedding and sat too close to the Inspiration, apparently, because he got himself COVID as well. Mm-hmm. Could not put the belt up. So to try and save face as best they can, they decided they're going to have an interim TNT champion. And once Cody's healthy, there'll be a unification match. So Sammy got his shot, but it was up against the Rhodes family and Dustin Rhodes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that because that's how we, that's how. Well, no, I should just get to right too because they started the show with that one, and there were spots all over the place on this. And the interesting thing was seeing Fuego del Sol pull a table out from under the ring, and you would have thought that was for Sammy. But he's very much Swiss in this because of the vlog tie-ins, how Dustin Rhodes is his father and everything. Well, Dustin Rhodes is the one who used that table, no matter who he intended it for. Did a Canadian Destroyer from the apron of Sammy onto the table on the ground.
It was amazing.
It was beautiful. It was so good. It was so good. Didn't help him win. Sammy ended up getting the victory. He is now your interim TNT champion. So him and Cody will have their unification match at some point and whatever. We kind of resolve the COVID-induced plot hole in this story. You had Britt Baker versus Riho for the women's title. Britt Baker did get this victory. Once again, after the match, they did more dissension between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. They keep poking at this bear here. It's very similar to the Wardlow MJF thing. Put a pin in that. That's been going on as well.
It feels like almost identical.
It is because Jamie Hayter's a hired gun. She's a hired gun, and she's doing stuff that displeases their narcissistic boss. It's the same story, but female, but I still like it equally.
I don't know why. I'm not going to complain about them, at all.
Yep. And then there was the match I wasn't expecting to see, but it was the FTW Championship match between Ricky Starks and Matt Sydal. Mm-hmm. And this was a highly entertaining match. Every time Matt gets a time to shine, he shows how good he is. Ricky Starks did get the victory. Team Taz is in full force and everything, but he got the victory. There was your night. So, it was fun. It was entertaining. It was good. It was just another hour, though. So, I mean, between these two, you had a full episode of Dynamite, basically. But due to some of the changes and all that, it lost a little bit of its luster.
I agree. I didn't even look up to see what the ratings were for it. I should have.
I think that it was just under 500 for about.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to watch it.
Which, if you think about that, that means that they got roughly 1.05, 1.1 million between two nights for 2 hours. That's about what Dynamite does, right? Yeah. So for those who are like, well, Rampage doesn't pull shit, it's half as long.
It's on a shit time.
It's on a shit time, and it's half as long as Dynamite. It pulls about half the numbers. That's actually good, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about Dynamite.
Let's talk about Dynamite.
Holy last night.
Shit.
I got tingles from it.
So, as much as I always like to run through the card first, I kind of want to do this a little old school because I really want to spend a lot of time talking about the very first thing that happened on this damn show. And it was not a match. Oh, no. It was a promo.
Okay.
Yes. Out of characteristic promo. It was Adam Cole with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly only coming out. And, he does the boom. He's got that all figured out there. And then he's just talking about how, this is a new era. And I'm like, oh, and everybody just starts going nuts about it.
It's a new era in AEW.
A new era in AEW. And then suddenly here come out the Young Bucks. And, Matt's like, I kicked COVID's ass in 2 days, and I'm here, blah, blah, blah. But thanks for the invite. No one invited us. And then they come out, and they're talking about the Bucks like, our New Year's resolution is to get our titles back. And then Red Dragon's like, well, funny you say that, because that's ours, too. It's like, oh, God, here we go. And then Adam Cole...
Getting right to it. Not wasting any time getting into... We know this is inevitable. Everybody, if you have eyes... You know this is coming.
Yeah.
This soon? Okay.
Well, then Adam Cole tries to defuse the situation. Yeah, so we need some healthy competition, and that's what we need because we're the best faction in all of wrestling in the world. blah blah blah. And then like they're comparing themselves like the best friends, and then like literally as soon as they say best friends, the best friends music hits, they start coming out, all of them. So it was all of them. So Orange Cassidy, um,
Trent,
Chris Statlander, Trent, Chucky T, and the other dude. I can't think of his Wheeler. Yes, Wheeler. So they all come.
No New Japan. How do you always forget the New Japan guy?
I know. I'm sorry. So they come out and all of them get in the ring and they just start just going ham. They just start throwing hands, everything like this. It clears out of the ring and only Orange Cassidy and Adam Cole are in the ring at this point. And then that's when Chris Statlander comes in and gets in front and stares down Adam Cole between her and Orange Cassidy.
Cassidy's like he's not like he's knocked down and Cole's going to obliterate him. So she comes in to kind of stand in the way.
Yeah. And then at this point, here comes none other than Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to come out and make the save for Adam Cole, baby.
What we've been wanting since Adam Cole signed with AEW.
so she hits Chris Statlander, and then at this point she picks up Orange Cassidy's face. I can just go scatterbrain. He picks up his face. Cole super kicks him in the face. Then he does the boom drop on him, and then he stands there and he wants the Young Bucks to kiss him on the cheeks. And then here comes Britt, and stops him, and she kisses him, and it's like a big hole to do.
Yeah, kisses him, like a big old
a legit kiss, yeah.
Which I'm like, yes.
So
they've discussed it. They've mentioned it, and they've flirted at this, that they are a real life couple. Everybody knows they are. But they both said that they wouldn't be opposed to being a couple in character on camera, right?
Yeah.
Finally you're getting it though. And I love it.
It was so good. It just made my heart happy in so many different ways. But yeah, this is setting up a lot. This is setting up a ton.
Well, and where they ended it too, because at the very end of it, the only person who was stupid happy was Adam Cole.
Mm-hmm.
So he got all of his toys in the ring, but there was this uneasy kind of settlement between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, and Britt just kind of like, what the fuck are these guys doing in front of my man, sort of thing, But Cole is the happy one. He's just playing this oblivious, he can't see the forest for the trees, which I feel when they finally make that sever, it's going to be him just going full Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, don't give a shit, I'm the main man, sort of. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to happen.
I think they're waiting for. I'm sorry. I feel like they're waiting for Kenny Omega to come back for that.
I agree.
Actually,
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna go the same way. I think they're gonna wait for Omega to make it happen. After this, you had your first match of the night, and this match was a lot better than I was expecting in a lot of different ways. It was CM Punk versus Wardlow, and they do MJF's music first, and then they do Wardlow, then CM Punk in that order. So MJF was out there looking extremely spray tanned, by the way, overly spray tanned. He does that every now and again.
Sure. No idea what bearing that has on anything, but cool.
It's an observation, sir.
Okay,
so this match actually did really good for Wardlow. 100% good for Wardlow.
Very good for Wardlow.
So at one point, Wardlow hit 7 power bombs.
Well, he hit 5, and then
he goes 5.
He goes for the pinfall. His standing over him pin. CM Punk's out of it. He's done. He goes to stand over it, and MJF gets on the apron and stops him. Says, "No, I want more. Do what I pay you." Powerbomb him again. He's like, "I could pin him right now. What the fuck? I could pin him right now." No, you do what I tell you to do. He just kept harking at it. At this point, the interaction between them, and they had a mic in the perfect place to pick this up too, because you could hear all of it, and it was fantastic. And so he picks him up again, does 2 more power bombs. And Punk's dead, right? He rolls over to the corner of the ring, over on the apron. And Wardlow's coming down to get him and push him back in the ring or whatever, And here comes MJF, stops him, goes over behind that corner, cleans off the bell timekeeper's table, and tells him to powerbomb him through the table. He doesn't want to do it. Wardlow is resisting, and this is so good, right? But he eventually does. And then he picks him up, drags him in the ring, gonna go for the pinfall again, get it over with. And again, MJF steps in the ring, stops him dead to rights. No, you dummy. You do what I tell you to do. I don't care about your victory. I want you to destroy him. And you can't even pick him up. It's so good. And then
CM Punk rolls him up in a schoolboy and 1, 2, 3 wins the match. CM Punk wins the match somehow, some way. But then
small package, boom.
But then here you go. After this, MJF is just fit to be tied. He's just pissed. He shoves Wardlow, and then he goes to shove him again. Wardlow catches him by his hand, because he's pointing at him, grabs his hand, and starts to twist it. And the crowd is going ape shit. It's happening. And then out of nowhere, here comes Sean Spears to intervene. Calm down, guys. Calm down. And then at this point, Aubrey Edwards checking on CM Punk, whatever. He was out of it. He took so many damn power bombs, it wasn't even funny. Then, go ahead.
Well, so later on, there was an MJF kind of came out, did a little promo in between some segments, and is pissed off and all this stuff, and he kind of threw a couple ribs at Wardlow, and then said next week we're gonna get the match you really want to see: CM Punk versus Sean Spears.
Yeah.
So
again, yeah.
Keep it going.
Doing his trials, if you will.
It's good.
So after this, Powerhouse Hobbs with Ricky Starks versus Dante Martin. Fairly entertaining match. It was okay. It was a Dante Martin show off match. Again, he gets the win. It looks pretty good.
I liked though for this reason. So Team Taz doing Team Taz things. Dante Martin gets saved by Jay Lethal.
Yes, that was the thing.
And then it hit me. I would like to see a faction of Top Flight, Dante and his brother, Jay Lethal, Leo Rush. Give that to me.
I'm in. So in on that.
I don't know what you call that. Young, black, and rich. I don't give a shit, right? But I think that would be great. Mostly I want to see Jay and Leo together in some sort of thing, because they both have so much charisma that together look the fuck out, right? I think that's fantastic pairing. If that's what they're doing here, it's not just a one-off, but you just got to be tingling thinking about it.
Yeah, it's excellent. After this, you get a weird promo of Chris Jericho cutting a pro about how great the Inner Circle is, and talks about Sammy beating Daniel Garcia. Then Eddie Kingston comes out and just questions Jericho, which I am actually really in on, because Jericho, I don't know, I love Jericho, but it's just kind of time. There's lots of tension.
It's time for him to go behind the announcer desk for an extended period. Let's take a step back. This whole thing, I don't get. I understand the Mad King thing, but I don't get him versus Jericho. And then you've got, are Proud and Powerful his buddies? Are they not his buddies? Who are they loyal to? It's what? Wait, what? Why is this this is an unnecessary angle? I feel like I don't know.
No, I get it, because he did say something that I 100% agree with. He's looking at Santana Ortiz. He goes, "You guys, why you haven't been the tag team champions?" And pointed right at Chris. I'm like, you are not wrong by that, because you had to do his bidding, a part of Inner Circle shit, instead of trying to do yourself and get big. Because those guys are talented enough to be champs. I love Proud and Powerful.
They're multiple time champions when old LAX, right?
Yeah. So I like the seeds there because I do feel like this could be a big thing for Eddie Kingston. But I feel like
new LAX, because I mean Kingston's I think what, half Puerto Rican, right?
yeah. Or Santana Ortiz just go off and do their own thing. And no longer Inner Circle. They walk out on both of them.
Yeah. I mean,
I can see that.
I don't know. I'm with you. I think it's time for Jericho to kind of just take a break, take a break off Jericho.
And he did take a small break. Then he got his hair dyed and it looked terrible, and his hair looked much better this time around. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just time.
It's
like,
time. It is what it is.
And it's hard for me to say as a lifelong Jerichoholic. Like, I love Jericho, but it's just time.
Well, I mean, those last several years, Ric Flair, I was just like, okay, it's time, Rick. Hang him up, And I never thought I'd say that. I even enjoyed his crap time in TNA, But near the end there, back when he's back again, it was just like, all right, Nate, And I never, like I said, lifelong, Nature Boy fan. Flirt with the idea again, Nature Boy tattoo multiple times over. I probably will one day. I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but it's time. It's time.
Yeah. So that was a little weird. And then they had the MJF piece. And then after that, Adam Cole and Britt Baker officially challenged Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander to next week. And then they tell Brandon Butler to stop recording, which I thought was great.
This is one of my favorite moments of this whole thing. Is that Red Dragon calls Brandon Landon.
Yes.
And now Britt Baker's calling him Brandon Butler instead of Brandon Cutler. I love all of this. I love this so much. Like, you don't know how much this is that small attention to detail that just gets me off. I just fucking love this. Whatever, Landon. Shut up, Brandon Baker. I love it.
It was good. So after this, Adam Hangman Page comes out. And, he says that he needs to wrestle more. And then out comes Dan Lambert and reminds him, like, of other cowboys and this and that. Like, he cuts a great little promo there.
It is, but it wasn't really needed for anything.
It wasn't, but it set the tone for the person who ran out to challenge Adam Hangman Page and won Lance Archer. Welcome back.
Lance Archer. I'm
as big of a beard. Which is nice.
Turned his beard up. He got rid of the red in his ponytail thing, but still the same old Murder Hawk monster. More heel this time, looks like. And yes, please, give me Lance Archer, Hangman Page. Give me a series of these matches. Fuck yes.
And heel Archer is the best Archer. That tweener Archer thing that he was doing, I was out on.
Right. The
heel Archer is the best Archer.
Comes out carrying somebody from the back or just beating up a cameraman on his way to the ring and just being a don't give a fuck Archer. Love it.
Yeah, that's my Archer. So that happened out.
So I was saying, so ironic considering the guy in real life. He's like the biggest Christian and like the nicest guy. So it's but hey, wrestling.
Yeah. So then after that, another promo. It was Arn Anderson with Brock and Lee Johnson. I guess they're a tag team now.
Sure.
They're in Horseman country, and of course, as soon as they say that, Tully Blanchard and FTR roll around, which I thought was great. And they're like, "Why don't you leave these guys and come with us?" And it's like, that's family. It's like, well, we'll be the sons you never had, and all this. So it ends up, Brock and Lee Johnson are gonna go against FTR next week. It's gonna be a squash match. We all know this.
Don't care.
Yes.
I have no care about that whatsoever.
Zero. Like, though, that's just terrible. Then we have Shida, Serena Deeb. And four-ish. This match, I was like, oh, here we go. Another banger. These girls are going to bring it. And they gave me something different than what I was expecting. And I honestly liked it.
Okay. I'm not far off. It wasn't what I was expecting, and at first I was not happy. But then the way everything with this whole segment went about made me very happy. So
yeah, so Sheeta's music hit, she starts coming out, and then she gets low chopped on the bad knee by Serena, and Serena's just going right after that knee instantly. Just goes after it. She's trying to rip off the knee pad, everything. Like she's just going after that knee, and then she puts her in the Serena lock or Serene lock, whatever it is. Serenity lock. Thank you. And she's just holding on to it, and then the ref stops the match.
This is a bad match. Not a bad match, but not the same match we expect from them up to this point here. Because this is where story kicked in.
Yeah, so the ref stopped it. She did not tap. She refused to tap. She's in tons of pain, whatever, which I thought was great. And then he stopped it. So that was really cool. After that, Deeb dragon screws her knee, and then she goes and grabs the kendo stick and like waves everybody out of there, and she starts attacking her knee with the kendo stick. Like she
went ape shit.
Snapped. Yes. Like fucking snapped. And then like 3 of the women came out. It was Ty J and Sky Blue come out, and then the refs hold Serena Deeb back, and then the girls help Shida back. But again, it just prolongs this story arc between the hatred of these two. I am really like, at first I was like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, oh, I love this. Like they're making the story that much better.
Exactly.
Like great job.
The match was not on par with their other 3, but it didn't have to be because of the way they're laying out the story. Now, you could have done this with another secondary match, women's match on the show, FYI, just saying. But, you know, for the women's action that you had, once again, setting up these extra storylines. They're doing this with what they're doing in Rampage and with, you know, Layla Hirsch and Statlander and, you know, Ruby Soho, hey Ruby, mixing in with, you know, Britt Baker Fallout, this and that. Yeah. So they're laying all these different roads here that's going to pay dividends. So while it's not the match we expected to get, I'm with you. I'm perfectly fine with it because of what they're setting up.
Yeah, and just because of the storytelling alone, it could be a match of the night candidate just for the storytelling. Like it's not.
I'll give that to you.
But I mean, it could be. That's what I'm saying. After this, you had Shivani with Jurassic Express, Christian Cage. They say get well to Ray, but they're looking for a top 5 tag team. Here come out Silver and Reynolds, and they challenged him. I thought that was a lot of fun. So they'll be going at each other on Rampage, which would be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, it will be.
Matt Hardy with his wife Reba and kids in the crowd, which I thought was nice because they are in his home state. He talks about Ray being injured, and he says he's going to do the same thing to Penta. After that, they had the match of Penta versus Matt Hardy, and it was what I expected.
It was exactly. It was what you expected. The crowd was into it. Back and forth. Both men can work a crowd. Great match. Mm-hmm. Don't care about the match. I really don't.
Nope. Penta wins with a Fear Factor pile driver.
Because after the match, and this is the part I'm going to take over this because I have to.
You got it. That's all you.
So after the match, Matt Hardy leaves, and then Penta and Abrahantes there are in the ring. They're going to cut a quick promo, and they're talking. Penta is talking to Malachi, calling him out, this and that, right? And then you get blackout. Boom! There's Malachi in the ring, and they just go at it. And he gets him, and he then gets jumped while him and Penta are going on. He gets jumped by an incoming Varsity Blondes, both Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr., with a trailing Julia Hart. Just FYI, wearing jeans, a black long sleeve shirt, and a black eye patch still. So, still wearing black, just saying. So, they come in 3-on-1, and they're all going to town on him. At this point, I don't know if you caught this or not, Jamie. I'm sure you did. But Julia gets up on the ropes and stops all 3 of them. Stop. He's had enough. It's a man who's terrorized you and your stablemates, along with everybody else, and stop. He's had enough. That's a seed. We'll come back to that, I'm sure, because shortly thereafter, second blackout. Lights come on. Brody fucking King's in the middle of the ring.
I know. Because he goes, remember, he counted them off. He's like, 1, 2, 3, lights.
And there's Brody King, and he just demolishes everybody. And they do their tag team finisher. And so JJ's a happy boy. And at the end of the day, you got Brody King in AEW with Malachi Black. The Kings of the Black Throne are here. So
the official first member of the House of Black.
Yes, he already has a T-shirt, and it is amazing.
Yep, I kind of want to buy it.
I bought it for their New Year's sale. I bought the House Rules shirt.
Oh, of course you did. Yeah,
20% off. I had to. So that's the part. This is by far my moment of the night. 1000%. So
yeah, no, I enjoyed that moment. That was a moment of the night for sure.
And they're still, like I said, they're still keeping that thing with Julia. She's gonna be in the House of Black. I know it.
I agree. 100% agree.
Even when they were leaving the ring, she didn't get out of the way fully. She was kind of off to the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's there. I'm telling you, it's gonna be great.
No, I agree. So after this, you had Shivani with Chris Statlander and all them. Chris Statlander, Layla Hirsch, and Red Velvet, whatever. They were fighting. Bear Country versus the Acclaimed. God, I love Max Caster's raps. There's nothing
was that
better.
good. This is a weak one.
I enjoyed it because he called out Djokovic, for not having a shot, because that's a big deal. Like, the men's draw of the Australian Open's in flux right now because they don't know if he's going to be able to be in there or not.
I know. I mean, he's very topical every week. It wasn't his strongest rap.
I know, but it was still solid. And then he also called Sting and Darby a punk bitch. So that really kind of hit home a little bit. So this match was fun. I mean, Bear Country didn't look that bad. Obviously, you knew who's going to win this one. The Acclaim won. They are going to have gold at some point.
Well, they're currently number one ranked tag team.
Yeah. And I just don't know when.
Right. We've long compared them. We've said they're one of those, foundational tag team pieces. I said I see a lot of young 3D in them, right? Max's mic skills and, Bowen's kind of strongman body work. I see a young 3D in them. I do.
We'll see. Time will tell. After the match, Sting and Darby attacked them. Didn't see that coming at all.
Sure.
Then I think this is actually on point right now too, is they had a vignette with the Bastard Pack talking about how he's not angry at Malachi, he appreciates the blessing. Now Vision has never been so clear because now he's blind. He's wearing like the Jushin thing from Mortal Kombat, so he can't see.
Yeah, all these like snapshots of him that are like photoshopped to have no eyes. He has a tarot card with the eyes X'd out on the person on it. I don't know who it is. Heather the librarian will tell us because she knows all. She's smarter than us.
Yeah, she is. She is.
But a House of Black member?
No.
I don't think so. But I'm just throwing it out there. Could be. You never know.
Well, with Ray on the shelf with a severely dislocated elbow, it's officially not broken, just severely dislocated. He would be the Penta's tag team partner. Like, it just makes sense.
I mean, sure. But Penta could do his solo run too.
Yeah, but you got Brody King now, and he's got his tag team partner. So, like, you need to do some tag teaming.
He's got to put him up against somebody, and he's got heat with. He was starting that with the Lucha Bros, but it fits in well because he did take out Pac. I see where you're coming from there. Yeah.
Yep, it's logical. After that, then they cut to Matt Hardy being frustrated about his loss, and then here comes Andrade El Idolo talking about how he's going to make him an offer, whatever, and they go off to talk. So seems like they're going to be doing something.
Which he leaves, but he was talking about leaving behind the Hardy family office. Maybe he's frustrated because he lost his home in front of his wife and children, and maybe he leaves the office behind. And as they go off, he pushes back Private Party. No, you guys stay here.
Yeah, and Andrade did the same thing with his assistant,
with Jose. Yeah, which, but I'm good with that for Private Party because I like to see them kind of go back to them be themselves, right?
Yeah,
I feel like it's fine, especially because they had some injuries they had to work through. But I want to see Private Party as Private Party because I think they're better that way.
They're so good. They're so damn talented. It's scary.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think I'm gonna call this next match the match of the night. It was really good.
I wanted to say Wardlow CM Punk, but this match just it had too many spots. I couldn't not call this next match of the night.
Yeah, and this is the interim TNT Championship match of Daniel Garcia versus one Sammy Guevara, the Spanish God. And to your point, spots a go-go. Like, it had so many good ones. Like the leaping senton on the outside. I love that one.
So much stuff.
Yeah, like there's tons of Sammy chants. Like Sammy's still over, and I felt like he was kind of dying off for a second. And now he's like back at being hot. I mean,
maybe letting you know that you rebounded your whatever relationship with Ty Conti. Everyone's like, all right, we're on your train now. Way to go, Sammy. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know either. Sammy. So 2.0 comes out to try to interfere. They attack Eddie Kingston and they attack Jericho, who are both out at ringside. But Sammy is able to overcome the odds, hits the go to hell, your winner, and still interim champion Sammy Guevara.
I mean,
after that though is when the match actually kind of this is the part that I enjoyed. It's like 2.0 came in and attacked Sammy. Jericho and Eddie started to come clean house. Jericho's got the bat and he hits one of the guys, and then Eddie happens to have the other member of 2.0, and he hits him with. Then Jericho hits him with the bat, and Eddie gets all sorts of pissed, like, "I had him! What the hell are you doing? I had him!" So those two had beef, and yeah.
Once again,
to elongate that story,
whatever. Not just with that, but I mean, I don't think Daniel Garcia needs 2.0 anymore.
I don't either.
I don't think it really does them. It was kind of funny and kitsch for a hot minute there, the whole sun thing and this and that, but I don't think he needs them, and I don't think they need him either. I think that they're perfectly fine kind of going in their own directions. I think it'd do them both good, but whatever. I love this match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed that one. It was just what the doctor ordered. I think it was exactly how that show should have ended, with how just insane it was, and it ended with a nice little spot fest. I really enjoyed it. So that was Dynamite.
Yep. Now we're about 7 weeks away from Revolution. Revolution is first weekend in March, if I'm not mistaken. So you can kind of see, especially with this episode this past week, felt to me like they're really starting to kind of put those seeds in, get everything groundwork, broad stroke for Revolution. Taking Hangman out of Danielson and putting him into, another path, and setting up different things, some feuds, the Wardlow MJF stuff. That and the CM Punk. Those are all going to come to a head at Revolution, or shortly before. So I thought it was great. I thought it was another good. I think their run TBS is going to be very good. So far, I've not been disappointed with anything really these past 2 weeks.
Like, at all. I have not been disappointed at all.
Right. There's little gripes here and there. Jericho and Kingston, I don't need that. There's a couple other things, but it doesn't bother me that bad, so I'll take it. Plus, we got Landon Butler out there shooting stuff. So, all right. Well, you guys let us know what you thought. Are you guys liking the TBS version of AEW? We covered a lot of AEW. I know they had a lot going on this weekend, so it happens. Jamie, you had something else you wanted to get to today, right?
I do, and this is very near and dear to me. Yesterday,
me too.
Was
more you, but me too.
Yeah, was the 30-year anniversary of arguably one of the greatest heel turns of all time.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd just say the greatest heel turn of all time.
Okay.
And I'll explain why in a second.
Okay. When Shawn Michaels turned on Marty Jannetty in the barbershop and super kicked him through the front glass. 30 years ago.
It was such a moment.
Oh,
I remember watching. Did you see that live?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was Saturday Night Main Event, if I'm not mistaken. And I remember sitting there in my living room watching that live and just dumbfounded. Jaw hit the ground. And here's why I say I think it was the best heel turn of all time. Because it set the bar. This is well before the Monday Night Wars, right? This is 6 years before 7 years? 6 years before the Monday Night Wars officially or whatever. So it was well before that, and it was not something you would see, especially on network television, on NBC on a Saturday night. And it was unbelievable. And it changed the course trajectory of both of those men in very different ways. But it definitely, like I said, it became the standard for heel turns to this day.
Like when I think about that heel turn, I'm trying to think of another. There's only one other heel turn I can think of that that could do anything with that, and that was Hulk Hogan going to the NWO.
Bash at the beach. Yep.
I think that is the only one that even sniffs it, to be honest with you. Like it was such a pivotal moment, not only for the heel turns, but for Shawn Michaels. Like it was Shawn Michaels' moment, man. Like it was, I don't know. Like when I think about heel turns, it's that and Hogan. Well, that's it.
I agree with you on that, most definitely. The Hogan thing was almost a cultural kind of revolution thing, because it was Hogan was such an entwined piece of Americana in the 80s and 90s. So to have him be a bad guy was just so unbelievable. It was masterful to actually pull the trigger and do that. I can't think of anything else that would be up on those levels. I don't think you'd have. I question if you'd have Hogan be in Hollywood Hogan, heel Hogan, without the Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty thing. Because the reason I say that is, as soon as that happened, then you had Shawn Michaels with Scary Sherry out there, and he'd be the sexy Heartbreak Kid, sexy boy. He went full flamboyant with the chains and the whips and the big earrings and all that stuff, it was over as fuck. Which was the first time I remember a heel being that over, right? Like he was so over. So I think that's what opened the door. Because most of the times when you had people who switched, it was very deliberate and very drawn out. You could see it coming from a mile away, but you didn't hate it because whether you're in the game. But things like Virgil turning on Ted DiBiase. Yeah, you saw this for months coming, right?
Just like Wardlow.
Things like this. Wardlow's a very old school turn, if you want to think about it that way. But this was just literally out of nowhere, just a bam, and it's like wow, and changed the course of wrestling, I would say, for a while.
100% changed. It changed everything. Like, I think if it wasn't for that, obviously we wouldn't have a D-Generation X. And I mean, Shawn Michaels wouldn't be who Shawn Michaels is if that didn't happen.
That's the key thing there. I still think you might have had something, because I know you still would have had Triple H in WWE. He was so creative. He would have come up, I'm sure, with something.
I agree.
I don't know if you'd have Shawn Michaels the way that Shawn Michaels is by any stretch of the imagination. I really don't.
Yeah. No, I agree. I completely agree with that.
So, yeah. So, can you think of any other heel turns that you would put even close to that? Was there any other heel turns or face turns? How about that? Was there any face turn that you think matches up to that? I can't really think of many, because face turns don't get the same kind of knee-jerk reaction that a heel turn does.
Oh, what about Taker going to Survivor Series for the US team versus... I mean, that was the first time he went from heel to face, was when there was Survivor Series like 95, 96. Yeah. And like he opened up his jacket and had the stripes on it, like it was his face turn moment. But I don't know if it had that impact, because everybody looked at
Taker's almost its own separate thing, you know?
Yeah.
Except for the American Badass bullshit, you know? He was pretty much... Undertaker is in his own category of stuff, right?
That's fair.
Really, I mean, he's the original tweener, you know. Maybe not the original tweener, but you know.
Stone Cold was the original tweener.
Well, I would argue to say that before that, Taker was, because he wasn't really a heel. He wasn't a face by any stretch of the imagination. He just was the Undertaker.
He was a heel.
He was up against faces for everything, but the crowd didn't treat him like a heel. You know, I mean, Stone Cold changed the look of the way things were, and it wasn't just Stone Cold. You had others in that era as well. Eddie Guerrero, you know, on both sides of the coin that played that line. But the Taker was like its own separate entity, is my thought. Anyway. You guys let us know. Does anything come close to this? You know, do you remember that? Are you old enough to remember that? Oh, God.
Yeah, are you old enough to remember that?
Because 30 years ago, I know some people listening right now were not born when that happened, and now I feel old.
100%, yeah. I was watching it live.
I was too, and I damn near shat my pants, like you said. Such a great moment. Such a great moment. All right, more great moments to come. So please stay tuned. We have plenty of interviews we've been recording left and right. So starting next week, we're going to start releasing some interviews. I believe next week we have the Howlets in preparation of Dynamic Wrestling Federation show next Saturday. So
you're just going to let it fly. You're just going to let it fly who it was. Wow.
Dude, you gave it away. Jamie tweeted yesterday about
what?
Are you really think that no one's going to understand that when you go hashtag heel shit in the middle of it?
I mean, you want to leave a little bit of doubt? Come on, just a little.
Well, I squashed it there because you took my goddamn belt. Okay.
It was never yours to begin with.
I made it. I'm fucking Geppetto over here, and you took my boy, and you're running away. So, all right. Enough of that. We have interviews coming up. Yes, I gave away the first. I'm not giving away any more. We got a bunch of really cool interviews. Stay tuned to our Twitter. We'll give you some previews coming up here. But our next several weeks, Tuesdays, we got a bunch of interviews coming out here. Some really cool peeps that you're definitely going to want to tune in for. Thursday, we'll be back again. Talk about AEW, talk about Impact, Fallout from Hard to Kill. What else is going on? Oh, I don't know. There's this little show in New York GCW is putting on here in a week and a half. Yes, the Hammerstein Ballroom show is coming up, and JJ's very excited for that. So please stay tuned. Lots of cool stuff coming up here. If we do go to Iowa, knock on wood, if we do go to Iowa, we'll talk next week about Wrestling Revolver as well. So please stay tuned. We'll be back next Thursday. Check out our interviews coming up on Tuesday. And once again, follow us on Twitter if you want more information. Jamie's going to be dropping little clues as to who we're interviewing ahead of time. So I won't spoil any more. I promise.
I appreciate that. But the next person that we are interviewing may or may not have given me a Christmas present. How about that? I feel like that's a safe
good
one.
enough. That's good. This is just a little dangle. Just a little dangle.
Like the angle of the dingle.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. We will see you guys next week. Jamie, please God take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down to Spotfest, I have 6 words for you. All hail the House of Black.
Fuck yes. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace.